Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose.
Affirmative.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I want to introduce the greatest show on earth here. I want to introduce Greg Anthony. Boy, it's gotten pretty bad, I can't even afford somebody to introduce me anymore, so I do it myself. But anyway, boys and girls, welcome to the Investigative Journal. I usually don't do a show like, you guys remember Ed Sullivan? A great big shoe, on Super Bowl Sunday, because or Super Bowl Monday, everybody's still drunk. But not everybody drinks, right? My listeners, most of them don't drink, at least I don't think so, because they're too busy with their head in the Bible. Now, there's nothing wrong with that. I love it, because I want to say something. I have learned most of what I wanted to know about the Bible from people that have come on my show, because I've interviewed a lot of Christians and I love them. Yeah. But anyway, Christians, get your head out of the Bible just for an hour. Let's have some fun. Let's have some fun on the Investigative Journal, and let's go and look at the Vatican-led New World Order and all the great things coming in the global world. We have so many people that think it's going to be fantastic. I wanted to talk about that. In general, I'm just opening up the show. I got a lot to do today. And what what I was thinking was, people wonder, like I do a couple shows that some people come back and say, oh, that's a little humorous. And I go, wow, a little humorous? That must not be too good. That means I'm going to get about 3 laughs in a comedy club. Well, I do a lot of things like this because I go do comedy appearances sometimes. I don't get paid for it yet. I haven't broken into the big time. But I go around and I do like 3 or 5 minute sets. And I use some materials that I do on the show. And one of the things I was thinking about was Jesus. I wonder if Jesus had a sense of humor. Okay? Now, I haven't read the whole Bible like all of you, but anytime I've read anything about Jesus, he didn't crack one joke. And secondly, the people around him who do most of the talking didn't crack many jokes either. So, using my powers of comedy, I said, what about if Jesus had a sense of humor about the things that were happening to him when he was on this earth, if you believe he was on this earth? And then what about him sitting up on the throne above the, the covering of the earth? What's he looking down and saying now? And so I thought, and I do like a 10-minute comedy set on that, and it's kind of funny. I get a lot of laughs, especially from Jews. They always stand up and go, he wasn't the Messiah, and he's not up there yet. He hasn't come down, so he can't have a sense of humor. Okay. And the Muslims, of course, they get mad at me. They don't get mad. They just said, yeah, he was just a prophet. And then we get certain people who start saying, oh, that was just a made-up story. So have fun with it. Okay, so that's just a little aside of why I do certain things on this show that some people think are a little humorous. Okay, yesterday, or was it Friday, I opened up a discussion on, that was the day that the Boy Scouts now allow Girl Scouts to join. So I asked the question whether boys can join Girl Scouts. Okay? And I found out that the Girl Scouts have no plans to start accepting boys in the wake of the news that the Boy Scouts will start welcoming girls into the organization. What is going on? Racism. Man, they don't like men. Come on, but how come the girls can join the boys? It's a historic decision driven by years of requests from families and girls. What? I'm reading something here. It's a story about it. But the Girl Scouts have tried to fight it. Good for you. Don't let the boys in, really. It'll be a mess. Boys should not be in the Girl Scouts. And you know something? I'm going to make a bold statement here. Girls shouldn't be in the Boy Scouts. And go to my show yesterday, because I did a lot on that yesterday. But I wanted to talk about one other thing that's not true everywhere. Did you know that you might have heard that the Girl Scouts of Colorado flip-flopped on their decision to allow a boy to become a Girl Scout? Yeah. Now, it seems like the local leaders in Colorado. Now, I used to live in Colorado for a while. Beautiful country. I sometimes dream to go back to the mountains. I really do. And then I look at the weather and I go, ooh, it's cold. I'm not going. But anyway, today. Yes. No, when was it? Saturday. You believe this? You think people are really smart? Weathermen are smart? No, I said that's the best occupation to get into, because you're never wrong. Even if you say it's going to rain and it doesn't rain, or it's sunny and it's raining, he can't control the weather. But on for Saturday, Punxsutawney Phil, you know who that, what is it, Groundhog? Or whatever he is, big guy, comes out and he tells us if it's going to be a long winter or a early spring. And Punxsutawney Phil, this is better than any weatherman, said it's going to be an early spring. Okay. And you know what? Have any of you ever had parrots? Well, I have parrots. I used to have parrots. And people used to make fun of me because I said I talk to my parrot. My parrot really understands me. And I didn't say this, but he used to predict the weather for me. And he was an African gray. And she was an African gray. Oh, that's funny. Very funny. I got the bird when it was very young, and they told me it was a male, or a female. I named it Lizzie. Then, as things went on, Lizzie was taken over by a really nice person who took care of parrots, I hear, because let's just say that at the time I could not take care of the bird in the proper way. So I had Lizzie for a long time. But they did a sex study and said Lizzie was a boy. Oh my God. I said, you know something? We're going to get down to the bottom of this. I don't know if Lizzie wanted to be a boy or what. So she declared, well, I still think it gets confusing, doesn't it? Even with parrots. Well, Lizzie used to tell me what the weather was. I'd be walking out and she'd go, hey, Greg, put on a jacket. Why? It's going to get cold. Okay. One day I'm walking out, get your umbrella. It's going to rain. And you know what? It rained. So I started listening to Lizzie instead of going to the weather forecasts. As I sit now doing the show, it's supposed to rain. It's not raining. That's why I'm saying it's a great job. So anyway, I talked to birds. And the other day on my show, I said I talked to babies. Remember the show Friday? And I said I talked to babies in the womb. Got a couple emails saying, you don't talk to babies in the womb. I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And so, I looked up a little information. I see it's common that people do talk to, and doctors and people who study these things say you should talk and sing to your babies. And they actually, I think their ears start to form at 20 to 25 weeks. I don't believe, I just talk to them from the time of conception. I think get an early start. And there you go. So it's really great, they say. They get to know your voice, calms them down. That's why mothers and fathers, it's good to have a calm, soothing voice. Don't play rap music. Don't yell. Don't argue. Because you're going to have a mean baby when he gets out. In fact, I did a test on one. They allowed me to do some tests, talking, because I had the uncanny ability not only to talk, but they could actually communicate with me. I'm not going to tell you how that goes. So I'm talking to one baby in the womb, and he was telling me that he did not like the music I was playing. So he said, play something a little more rock and roll. So I played a little Elvis. Boy, I loved it. Then guess what happens? I said, this idea of educating your child, how parents now are, they want to educate their child at two weeks old to, read the Constitution of the United States by the time they're 1. And where's the childhood? Where's the childhood? So I decided to talk to one baby and just have fun, play games. Talk to him like I was a kid. And I'll tell you, the baby came out and said, "Thank you so much. I want to be a child as long as I can because you adults are crazy." This kid was smart. But anyway, go to my show. It was Friday. You're going to listen to, I did a little bit on abortions because of that crazy governor in Virginia. And basically advocating abortions in the last trimester, as well as abortions in the birth control, and even after the baby's born, where the baby may have some kind of deformity, but they don't say how much of a deformity. And then they make it comfortable and then decide what to do with it. What do you mean, decide what to do with it? You know what I'm talking about. Well, apparently, this is a common practice. There's a book out, and I was watching, I forgot the name of the book, so check it out. It's a common practice in the United States. It's been going on in the United States for a long time, and there's a case of one guy, an abortion doctor, who'd been doing this a long time. Can't think of his name. I'm sure you know. Starts with a G. And apparently this has been going on for a long time. And America is in the same category as the way babies are treated in China, North Korea, and a couple other places. We're not, really. So all of you people out there who don't think this country is on the wrong track, man, think again. And you Christians, you got a good fight ahead, and I really admire you because, I believe in the right to life, or otherwise I wouldn't be here. And I think, I think Reagan, he did say something that I really liked. He did say it's really funny that, everybody against abortion's already born. So, or is for abortion is already born. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Now, it's hurt my career I was doing some comedy stuff, and also I have a SAG card. Occasionally, Hollywood thinks I'm conservative because I'm on a Christian station, so it's hurt my professional life. I was talking to my agent, and I said, "Hey, look, I'm getting older. I want one more shot at this because I enjoy doing theater." And I told her, I said, "I think they think I'm conservative, so a lot of times I don't get work." And she says, "Yeah, I thought you were too, but I like the way you do things sometimes," because occasionally she'll listen to my show. And I said, "Okay, well, let's see what I'll try to go to Hollywood and lie, like the rest of them." Okay. The Virginia governor, he is supposedly going to speak, or did speak Saturday. I didn't follow it. He was caught then wearing they got a picture of him either wearing blackface like Al Jolson or a Klan uniform. They're both standing together laughing, and everybody's making a big deal about it. And the Democrats, they have to get rid of him because that would be a double standard, right? Because they're always saying every conservative is racist. Trump is racist, I'm racist, you're racist. Everybody that's conservative is racist. So here's this guy with a picture, and I'm going, wait a minute. I did a play once where I pretended I was a black guy, and I'm not racist. Now, they say, well, if you're a governor, you're held to a higher standard. Bullshit. These people are crooks. Why are they held? They shouldn't be held. They should be held to a lower standard. Because if you're a regular citizen and a great citizen, you should be held to a higher standard. These people are crooks. So why do we even care? And nobody really explained, I want to know why he wore that. Maybe he was in a play, and the outcome of the play was that racism was bad. So, we're really upside down in this country. They're going to do what they want anyway. And they talk about racism, black, white, Chinese, whatever you are, and it's so ridiculous because all of them believe in killing babies in the Vatican. They're all Satanists at the top levels. So, what the hell are they talking about? So it's a little confusing if you don't really understand who's at the top of the pyramid. So, boy, we can get really deep, can't we, and lose our train of thought. Okay, I did want to finish this article. Okay, so now Colorado allowed a boy to be a girl. Now listen to the story behind this. Okay, The state organization's leaders have gone on record stating, this is in Colorado, they have a state, Girl Scouts of Colorado, are inclusive organization. If a child identifies as a girl and the child's family presents her as a girl, Girl Scouts of Colorado welcomes her as a Girl Scout. Okay, so what does that mean? If the child identifies, all right, this is the case, young 7-year-old Bobby, born a boy. Okay, on Bobby's birth certificate, he's a boy. Yet he insists that he is a girl. Now, where did he get that idea? Where did he get that? I mean, I'd really like to sit down with Bobby and I'd say, Bobby, okay, look at your birth certificate. Now, what is the parents doing here? Can his dad or mom just say, Bobby, you're a boy? And Bobby now can be a member of what has recently been an organization designed exclusively for young girls. And their argument is that the term inclusive is the first clue that the higher-ups in the Girl Scout organizations have more of an agenda. Well, this is not their statement, but more of an agenda than doing service projects and teaching such things as camping, cooking, sports skills. Inclusive is a buzzword or term that denotes familiarity and acceptance of homosexual and transgender advocacy. So that's really what's going on. When you see this thing politicized the way it is, and these kids, where do they get the ideas that they're, I grew up with a lot of kids like you did, and I did not meet one when I was a kid at Boy Scout, Girl Scout age that wanted to be a boy when she was a girl, and a boy wanted to be a girl when she was a boy. Never once. I don't know, think about it when you were a kid. And how many kids, I played with a lot of kids, and I never met one. Now, where are they getting this idea now? And secondly, isn't that going to cause a lot of problems? These kids are getting around that age, you know. I remember one time I was a young kid, and there was a girl across the street named, I'll protect her name, because we didn't do anything wrong, but we were swimming in her, you remember those plastic swimming pools? And we both dove down. We were real young kids, and we kissed each other in the pool. So imagine these kids camping together. Come on. Well, I guess Bobby, if he thinks he's a girl, maybe he's lying. You ever think about that? Isn't it great? Imagine, who was that guy, Wally? Not Wally on Beaver, the guy that was always the troublemaker. Let's do Leave It to Beaver. I'm sure you've seen that show. It was the great show of showing the great family life of America in the 50s and 60s. And Wally had a friend, I can't think of his name, who was always the troublemaker. So he's the kind of guy that's going to go to the Girl Scouts in Colorado and say, hey, I'm a girl. And then guess what's going to happen when they go camping? It opens it up, folks, to a lot of problems. You know, kids aren't always honest. I don't know about you, but you know what I'm talking about. And I'm going to ask you a question right now. How many times did you lie to your parents? Every one of us did. It's just, how bad was it and how many times did you do it? And were you a chronic liar about serious things or just, white lies? And that story, those words I just said, leads me into what I'm going to do in the second half hour. What is a white lie? I mean, these are expressions that drive me crazy in America. I mean, every language has their expressions that make absolutely no sense. And every now and then I do this. I mention some expressions and we have fun with it. So what I'm saying to my Christian friends, take a break on the Bible for a minute. If you're in Psalms, if you're in Corinthians and all that, that's great. But take a half hour with me, an hour, a half hour coming up. And I'm going to go over some of these crazy common sayings that mean absolutely nothing. Nothing. What another aside do I have here? Okay, come back. We're going to have fun with that. Okay, I already did my, this national emergency that Trump's going to do. I'm going to do a show on that tomorrow, Serious show, because you probably don't know, but Presidents have the authority to do that, and he's not the first one. Obama had 12 national emergencies that he filed. 13 or 12. Who was before him? Bush had 13. And there's hundreds of them that are still, I think there's 20-some still in effect because every year they have to renew them. But some of those are like protecting the borders of Lebanon, okay? Protecting the borders of another Middle East country. Now, if we can protect the border of Lebanon, why can't we protect our own border? And if you don't think that 30 million people running around the country without, using fake IDs, using your social security numbers, and just flowing in now with, incredible numbers is not a national emergency, I don't know what is. What kind of country do you really want? Well, we know that Congress has never passed good laws, and that's because the Congress gets their marching orders from the Vatican, who likes mass migration all over the world. The Pope supports it in Europe, makes a lot of money on it, and he does here. So they get their marching orders from the Pope, from the Jesuits, saying, leave those loopholes in these laws so we can flood this country and change the face of America. And that's exactly what they're doing. Now, this idea of building a wall, sure, it'll help. I mean, it's not the only thing, but they've got to crack down on the laws, and that's not going to happen, because until the Pope tells them to do that, they profit from mass migration, and that's the end of the story. But we'll get into that in a minute. So we got, I want to do a whole story on that, because it's quite interesting, because there are some of these national emergency things. There was one for the swine flu, I know that, national emergency. So it's not uncommon. And you're going to hear the Democrats go, oh, this is not a national emergency. You know what they want. They want a global world. They want everybody to vote for them. And that's how they do it, because many of these people get in and vote illegally, right? Yes. So that's how it works. Mass migration is the way of the world, and it's going to continue. And any kind of problem, anything that makes sense, like putting up a strong barrier or doing anything else like that, is never going to get to the light of day. Because I've studied the issue, folks, and it's the Vatican-led New World Order. We have a problem with, and I did a couple shows on that, how our laws are really passed here. And I always give this example, and people say, well, it was a coincidence. Well, 9/11 is in America. America doesn't even remember. They put up another, building there. It was something that just happened, right? Well, the Patriot Act, which was really designed to really strip away your rights in the Constitution, and that's what they really want to do. In the First, Fourth Amendments, many other things. The Patriot Act, a 321-page document written, and the lead writer was a Georgetown attorney named Vinh Dinh from Vietnam, Jesuit. He was writing it. This was written prior to 9/11. Why? Did they know it was going to happen? No, it was a coincidence, just in case. Just in case they were going to blow down the World Trade Center. They had this thing ready. So right after that, they give it to the senators and congressmen, and they pass it. They don't read it because they were told to pass it. That's how it works. And so when you hear all these people tell you that Rome and the Vatican and the Jesuits are not involved in our lawmaking, you got a lot to learn. Somebody then wrote to me and said, well, maybe that's why you aren't doing well in Hollywood. I said, why? I said, well, 1, I'm not a pedophile. 2, I don't believe in Satanism. 3, they won't say a word about the Vatican because they know they won't work again, because it's not the Jews, it's the Vatican who controls Hollywood. Back in 3 minutes on the Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app, for all of your mobile devices. Streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This isn't happening.
Okay, folks, back after a nice cup of hot coffee for another crazy half hour on the Investigative Journal, and you have to admit that we live in crazy times. But, I was doing a little research on that, and everybody from generations past say the same thing. So I guess it's just a crazy world, and we can look back in history, and that can be proven. So anyway, I'm drinking caffeine. Before I get to these idioms and the common sayings that just drive me crazy, what about, I'll just give you a teaser. You ever, you're talking to somebody, and they go, well, I'm going to draw a line in the sand right to here. And I go, what sand? I don't see any. We're not on the beach. Where's your line in the sand? Okay? Well, anyway, so I'm drinking caffeine. Maybe some of you, I always like to bring up a medical problem or two because we all have those, especially as we get older. Unless you're a genetic freak like Tom Brady. Okay. Let's say that I had caffeine. I'm starting to think, oh my God, throughout my life, not regularly, but I've had what's called an acid reflux problem, and that's where you get a lot of gas in your stomach. And I guess the reason I get it is because that's my initials, Greg Anthony Szymanski, gas. Okay, so you get gas in your stomach, you can't sleep at night, you got to sit up straight. Well, it got so bad about 8-9 years ago that I didn't eat for like 17 days. And I think I was doing my radio show during the time. Maybe not. Maybe I took a break because I was, it wasn't bad after a while. But I was so sick from that I couldn't eat for a while. So I just said, okay, and I got a cure, and it really worked. 7 or 8 years, nothing. But recently I've got that problem. A little, not quite as bad as the last time. And so it said, don't drink coffee and don't drink beer or whiskey or tequila or any, in moderation. Don't do that. It's not good for your stomach. So I didn't do that. And man, I was still having problems. Then I tried to eat certain things that didn't work, bland things. Okay, so I remember my grandmother, she used to drink 1 or 2 shots of whiskey every night, and she always slept pretty well. So the other day I say, okay, I am going to try hell with it. Okay, so guess what I do? I start drinking coffee, and I had 3 or 4 beers at night, which to me is nothing. But it's enough. I slept like a baby. So then if I go 2 or 3 days without that, my stomach's bothering me. So what does it tell me? I guess my stomach likes beer. All right, fine. Let's not get into the medical reasons, but it kept my grandmother alive till she was to a ripe old age. She drank in moderation. So I've even talked to a couple of doctors say it's not wrong to have 1 or 2 shots, and just as long as you don't become an alcoholic. Okay, enough of that. We got to get to these sayings that drive me crazy. One of them is, I mentioned it at the break, white lies. I told a white lie. Do you hear any civil rights people ever complain about that? No, because it's the whites that tell the lie, right? Yeah. What if we said I told a black lie? Oh my God. You would have Al Sharpton and every civil rights activist calling you a racist. What about the White House? How come they don't say, hey, we want to call it the Black House or the Neutral House? You don't hear anything about that. But I, for one, want to get rid of that term, the White House, because it really didn't come from a color. It came from a Jesuit priest. Look it up, Father White. Okay. Now, what are we talking about here? These common sayings that drive me crazy. I don't know if they drive you crazy. When you really think about it, you really think, what are you saying? I can't believe America. No wonder we're in so much trouble. But an idiom is a group of words. Let me see if I can remember my definition and meaning. What's the meaning of these words? It's not immediately apparent if you look at the words and you take them literally, correct? If you take them literally, you don't know what the hell you're talking about. Well, that's what an idiom is. And there's so many of these things, they drive me crazy. Like, do you ever talk to somebody and say, oh, he's a rat. You spilled the beans. Huh? Wow. Jerry spilled the beans. Jerry, where the hell? I don't see any beans. I really don't see any beans, but everybody's spilling beans. Why not spill broccoli? Or why not spill asparagus? Where the hell did the beans come from? And I'm sure you can look it up. And there's so many of these things. I love saying them all the time. Hey, how about this one? I don't feel so good. I'm going to recharge my batteries. All right, are we robots, really? Come on, where's your battery? You don't have any batteries to recharge. Your car, go start your car and see if you have to recharge your battery. Well, I'm going to knock your socks off for saying that. You try to knock my socks off because I got my shoes on. You'll never get to my socks. You can't knock my socks off. But you know what? I'm going to go out on a limb for you. Okay, where the hell are the trees? I ain't going to walk out on that limb. I'll kill myself. Oh, man, this guy. I was just making a shot in the dark. Where's the gun? Come on, where's the gun? A shot in the dark. All right, how about this one? Stick it. Where are you going to stick it? How about if you got somebody who doesn't know? He doesn't know. What do you mean, stick it? Stick it? Where are you going to stick it? Or shove it? Shove it where? Okay, I'm just taking a shot in the dark on that one. How about the guy, you always meet the guy with a chip on his shoulder, right? The guy with the chip on his shoulder. I've looked for years. I don't see any chips on anybody's shoulders. I really don't. No chips on anybody's shoulders. Do you see them? I don't see any chips. So we got no chips on shoulders. I've never seen, have you seen a chip? What kind of chip are they talking? A wood chip? They talking about a poker chip? What are they talking about? Chip, my friend Chip? I don't see Chip, my friend, on anybody's shoulders. But you know what? after saying that, Greg, I got a bone to pick with you. Bone to pick. He's going to pick a bone with me. Bones. It doesn't make any sense. You know, I got to stop for a minute. But do you ever get, since we're always computer bound now, we can't live without looking at a computer, do you get these things that pop up? I don't know where they come from, and I can't stop them. I really can't. They just, like one just did it. It just pops up, and then when I try to get rid of it, it goes, you know, it comes in the right corner of your screen. Somebody help me. It's driving me absolutely crazy. Then they'll say, well, go into your cookies. I'll go, why the hell would I want to go into my cookies over in the kitchen to fix my computer? See what I mean? This can get pretty goddamn serious if you didn't. Imagine people from 200 years ago listening to us. They wouldn't know what the hell, what language are they speaking? And I guess they had their idioms too. But isn't it kind of crazy, the things we say? How many do you say every day? I always wondered that. How many idioms do you say every day? Oh, how about this one? That takes the cake. Oh, man. Okay. Where are you going to take it? I remember George Carlin. He did a few of these, and I'll always remember this one. He said, well, where do you take it? He said, I take it to the bakery so it could be with other cakes. And then he'd say something like, well, what about the piece of pie? Pies are easier to carry than cakes. Where are you going to take it? But you know, that's a piece of cake, isn't it? I always love that one. And how about this one? You know, you meet a girl, and, oh man, I fell head over heels over her, and I killed myself. You know, think about it. I fell head over heels. So you're going to hit your head because you met that girl? But man, she was tickled pink. What'd you do? Tickle her with a crayon? And after I met that girl, I'm on cloud 9. Where the hell is cloud 9? Give me a break. Why not cloud 26? Why did 9 become cloud 9? I want to know. Cloud 10? I look up in the sky. I don't see any numbers. But, you know, here's a good one that makes sense to me. It really does. We've made some sense out of this one. How do you feel today, Joe? Oh, man. I am under the weather. Hey, he's right. He's under the weather. Unless he's in his house under a roof, but then again, he's under the weather. Makes sense. So I guess we found one that makes sense, but that was like what? Looking for a needle in the haystack. Did you ever? The last time, you know, if you go looking for a needle in a haystack, you're going to get it. You're going to have to, you know where it's going to go? Maybe that's what you mean by sticking it. Whoever's looking for a needle in a haystack, you know, how about that's a no-brainer. I don't even know what, you know, that's, okay. My favorite, close, but no cigar. I don't, where did that one come from? How about close, but no cigarette? Close, but no spaghetti. How about beating around the bush? You've been beating around that bush. I don't see, you ever see these people running around a bush? Why? Where did that come from? Well, you know, let's get smart now. It's a Swedish expression. Oh. And it came from something like, a close shot will never get you the rabbit. Oh my goodness, they're going to kill animals. I can't do it. You know, I've told the story about my first time. I only went deer hunting once in my life, and I was a young kid, about 16, 17, 18. I'll tell you that story another time. I never shot one, never would pick up one. I can't do it. They're too beautiful. And that deer, that day in my sights that I didn't shoot and I put my gun down. Boy, that was close for him, and but he got his cigar. or no cigar. They should give you a cigar if it's close and you get out of a close call. Give the close, but give them a cigar. So that deer got a cigar because I couldn't pull the trigger. I looked right at him and said, I can't kill you. I don't even like meat. You know? Oh my God. This one kills me. In a pickle. I'm in a pickle. Have you ever seen anybody inside a pickle? Can you imagine being inside of a pickle? But hold your horses, folks. We got a lot more to come. But you know, I went out the other day. And I don't even know how you can work on a computer anymore or do anything. Because I bought this, I don't know, it was a lamp that I needed because it was dark in my desk. And it cost me an arm and a leg. So now I got one arm, one leg. But you know, I was thinking the other day, and that hit the nail on the head. I hit the nail. Don't hit your head on the nail, but hit the nail on the head. Okay, but I don't want to jump the gun because this is driving me crazy. Hold your horses. We got more to come on the Investigative Journal. Let's make it serious here to end the show. What the heck are we doing? We're going through so many idioms here. We may never quit, right? May never quit. But you know what? Can we do it cold turkey? Yes, cold turkey. We're going to stop talking about this stuff. But you see the kind of fun you can have? And so let me give you a little example. When I do a comedy routine, I got all these in my head, and you can't use notes. Oh, it makes it very difficult for me. You know, I want to tell you a little story. Occasionally I try to get work as I write things for lawyers, their complaints, their motions, things like that. I like criminal law. It's my favorite. Because I've always dreamed of being in the mafia. And I got close. I mean, I wasn't asked. You know, plus I'm Polish, so I mean, but I lived in Italy and speak Italian, so I guess I could fake it. And I won't tell you that story. But criminal law I like. And so I saw this ad, and I sent my resume to do maybe some writing, criminal motions, things like that. Talk to the criminals. I like doing that. And they said, okay, do this 15-minute test. I said, what? Yeah, it's a test online. So and they give you 15 minutes, and there's 50 questions. I go, whoa. First of all, what do you do? 50? That's harder than the bar exam. And that opens up a good point in Barbados. They said, you don't have to, it's unconstitutional or something to force people to join a bar association. They should just have qualifications to practice law. Look at Abraham Lincoln. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Because my thinking is, I want to do a bigger show on this, is that the reason we have a justice system and inequality under the law is because of these bar associations. It's a little club. And I think, you know, it's a club to make money, and that's why kids go to law school. Really. Kids go to law school to make money. They don't go to learn the law. And I think if you opened up the legal profession to really people who would want to do it to begin with? Because if you do it, see, I'm playing some Barbados music. If you really want to do it, it's crazy. You're going to have a heart attack. A lot of them become alcoholics. It's a tough profession. And so I think if you take like an internship like Lincoln did with a judge who took one too, and you would get people that really liked the law, and they wouldn't be in there just for money. And so I think if you got rid of the bar associations, we'd be much better off. And you know, one of my good friends who passed away was disbarred, and he was one of the best lawyers I knew. Okay, now I have a friend who just got into the bar and ordered 2 whiskeys. No, got into the bar. Why do they call it a bar? That's another one of these things, a bar association. It has bad connotations. Well, maybe because they know if you join it, you're going to become an alcoholic. Or 2, you're going to end up in jail. or they should be in jail. So maybe it does make sense. But he took the bar 19 times in California. The record's 20-something. But man, I've known him a long, long time. And Glenn finally passed. Won't give you his last name. Because he'll never get any work done. I never met a client that came in and said, how many times did you take the bar? How many times did you finally pass it? 26. Well, I'm going to go find another lawyer. See, people got the wrong impression that these people from Harvard and Yale are smarter. No, they're smarter in that they want to get in and screw you so they can make a lot of money. But half of them really, they end up in transactional law, all this shitty stuff. And, then you get probably, lawyers. And I'm just saying there's not some good lawyers out there that are past the bar. But like I said, this test for this criminal law deal I wanted to work was insane. I don't know. I couldn't pass it. I didn't even try. I mean, I got to about question 25, and I had only 3 minutes left, so I crashed my computer purposely. Then I emailed the person, and it's only like the secretary to the secretary. And I said, oh, my computer crashed. Can I take it again? I don't think if I took it 10 times I'd pass it. This thing is like, do you ever see these tests? They give you like 4 boxes and there's X's and O's and they say, which one should you put here? I can't answer. And I go crazy. Now I can answer the questions that regard, thinking. I mean, I don't know if what the hell does that have to do with practicing law? I don't think Lincoln took one of those kind of geometry tests to pass. He didn't take anything. And he was probably a better lawyer than 99% of the lawyers today. Who would you rather have as a lawyer? Bill Clinton, who went to the bar? I think he got disbarred. Or Lincoln, who never took the bar exam? Because there wasn't any. I think it's a pretty interesting analogy, isn't it? Well, anyway, enough on the idioms, because I've only got one arm and leg left. And I'm not going shopping for a long time because I'll be without any limbs. And I'm not. Then how am I going to climb? How am I going to go out on a limb for you guys and do this kind of work with the Jesuits? I'm not going to go out on any limbs if I don't have any limbs, right? So anyway, we talked about Punxsutawney Phil, the Virginia governor. I guess, I didn't follow up, but somebody emailed me and said that he was talking his way out of resigning. And he says, and I don't know much, you probably heard about it because he did it Saturday, I guess. He said that he's just like this, his faults are just like the Virginia Commonwealth's faults. And I guess he said now, this is how I'm getting in an email, because I didn't follow it, I got tired of it, that there was a picture of him either as a Al Jolson black-faced figure or in Ku Klux Klan garb. He said, you know something? No, I remember for some kind of thing when I was that age, he did a play or something, and I was dressed up as an Al Jolson figure, dancing. But I don't now remember myself in that picture. Okay, big deal. So now he's saying, I'm not even going to apologize because I don't deserve it. I want to earn your respect again. Because just as the Commonwealth of Virginia was racist in the past, so was I. And I met my wife and I changed. That's paraphrasing. So he's not going to resign. And boy, that's going to give the Republicans some really good ammunition. They can say anything now. Because they'll say, look, you say we're racist, Trump's racist, but look at this guy. Get off of Trump's back, will you? Well, it's going to be fun to watch, huh? It's just another one of my favorite stories, and that is how this is really a great movie. This guy's he's just a character actor coming on for a few days, but he should get a big round of applause for the part he's playing. And we know the lead actor now is Trump, and Obama still wants to get on. He gets cameo roles. He still wants to be the president. But this is a great Hollywood story that they've written, hasn't it? And I think that when the Academy Awards come up and you see the crappy movies that are going to be there and all these actors and actresses going out acting as if their SHIT doesn't stink, you're going to say, where are the real? This is, the Trump show is much better. And the congressional show, Nancy Pelosi, these are the people that should be winning these awards. And then when you get to the directors and the producers, I'm going to tell you something here. It's not Steven Spielberg and the rest of those guys. It's all of these Jesuits in the background producing this great show, directing it. We got the money coming from the Vatican. Come on, the producer should be who runs the Vatican Bank now? That guy should be the one who's doing all the money laundering. And then the directors, these Jesuits, they should get their due. For the best movie script written this year and the last year, we give it to Father Joe Schmo, the Jesuit priest, for his great screenplay on the Trump presidency. Yes, we will give him a round of applause. Hey, tell people about the show, will you? Spread it around. I could use a few more listeners. And you know what? Please, when I'm done with this show, I promise I am going to go and read a few Bible verses, and I'm not saying that in jest, because really, when you really think about it, there's some really good stuff in there, and I wish more people would read it, because whether you read it for fun or whether you read it because it's your faith, which is your right, and I really love people that have deep faith. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to do that, I promise. Maybe I'll have a cup of coffee first, but I will do it. Have a good Monday evening. See you tomorrow on the Investigative Journal.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.